Hi, everyone. Welcome to your Week 33 U.S. History launch, and we're going to continue learning a little bit about the Workers versus Industrialists project. For this week, I'm going to put a pause on talking about the project and actually focus on one of the focus areas to try to get you guys a little bit more background information. But first, I'd like to discuss the most recent update on the Focus on the Finish Challenge. This was updated Friday, April 6th at 11 a.m. So anything you did later in the day on Friday or over the weekend has not been included. But as you guys can see, 8th grade has jumped up tremendously in the last week. You guys have 130 points compared to 7th grade's 100. 9th grade right now might as well just go home. But I do want to explain a little bit. So 7th grade has less kids than the 8th grade. What we do is we take those total points that you earned and we divide it by the amount of kids in each class. And when we do that, it becomes a little closer. 8th grade is still winning, but it gets closer. You guys have an average of 6.5 points per learner. And 7th grade, you're just edging them out. They have 6.25 points per learner. So it seems like it's going to be a really, really close one between 7th and 8th grade this year. So just keep working, keep submitting as much as you can, and hope that that number stays there. So nice job this week, guys. For some of you that need a reminder, as of today, there are 35 days of school left, and that is not a very long time. But the cool thing about the summit is there's really not a lot of work. If you look at your year view, you probably only have a total of maybe 40 things to do throughout the whole year. So if you really get down to it and you're somebody who's put this off, it's really not that far-fetched to think that you can do this thing. Try to submit one thing per day. Turn one thing green per day, and you will be sitting in a much better predicament than you will if you keep putting this off any longer. Because just a reminder, May 25th is the end date. There will not be the opportunity to work for the entire summer like some of you did last year. So summer school is a separate thing, but that's going to be completely up to our principal. But she will be putting out a reminder soon that the last day is May 25th and there's no extensions. This week, I want to go into a little bit of detail on the focus area industrialization. I'd like to see you guys working to pass this one this week if you haven't. So basically, industrialization, the definition is the change from a farming economy to a machine economy. So what you guys should understand is in the United States, we were going through an agricultural revolution. We were able to produce, our farming was allowing us to produce so much food that as a result, the population was increasing. And then what happened was as the population grew, we started to have different inventions come about, and those machines ended up speeding up the process for production. So what ended up happening, there was a need for more unskilled workers. So people started kind of leaving the farm and they started to go into the city. And that's the process of urbanization. And that is when people leave rural areas or farms and move to the cities. What ended up happening was there was a huge increase in European immigrants. And this was very preferred by factory owners because they would get these people here and then pay them very, very little and work them tremendous hours, and the conditions were absolutely awful. So as a result, immigration increased, but at the same time, there was a need for labor unions because these people were being paid very little, they were being overworked, and as you guys are starting to learn in your project, it was a very dangerous place to be in the factories, as well as they had child labor and all sorts of things that you would never even think of today. So some other key terms to study would be the robber barons, the agricultural revolution, the homestead strike, going into a little bit of detail about labor unions, just kind of understanding their purpose, and then also learn a little bit about Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, and John Rockefeller. Mainly, what were their big contributions during this time? What did they invent? How did they make their money? So just kind of learn a little bit. You don't have to know every detail about them, but just the big things like that, where they made their money and what was their business. In week 33, runs from April 11th to April 17th. I would like you guys to try to master the industrialization focus area. And if you would like a challenge, actually that is not the correct one for the challenge. There are the additional focus areas, but that is not it. So you guys can try to do one of the additional focus areas and make sure that you guys still hold your lead for next week and try to keep the 7th graders at bay. And I'd also like you to submit checkpoint 2 of the Workers versus Industrialists project. Some of you have done that, but only a few, so that's why I'm kind of pumping the brakes on the project in these launches right now. I want to get some people caught up. So we'll discuss checkpoint 3 next week. If you guys need anything, please reach out, and I will talk to you guys next week.